mynews.studio.
40% of the world's electricity now comes from low-carbon sources. That's renewables and nuclear. So what does that mean for coal, for jobs, and for the climate overall?
And today's date is June 1st, 2025. For the first time since the 1940s, low-carbon sources have generated over 40% of global electricity. The big question is this a real turning point, or just another step along the way?
That 40%, it's not a small thing. We're seeing huge growth from solar and wind, hydropower staying steady, and nuclear making a bit of a comeback. Coal plants are closing. Finland's Salmisaari plant just shut down. So what changed? Why is this happening now?
The speed is new. Solar power output has doubled in just 3 years. Now it's over 2,000 terawatt hours, around 7% of global electricity. Wind is at 8.1%. For the first time, wind and solar together have overtaken hydropower. Why does that matter?
Because it's a real shift. Hydropower is still big, over 14%, but you can only build dams where you've got rivers. Solar and wind can be installed just about anywhere. China, the US, and India are all close to 10% solar in their electricity mixes, and Europe is already there. So is this actually global, or just a few regions moving fast?
It's spreading worldwide, but not evenly. Nuclear is shifting too. It now supplies 9% of global electricity. We're seeing France restoring its nuclear fleet, Japan restarting reactors, and new plants opening in China, India, and Korea. Is nuclear now the backbone for stable, low-carbon grids?
That's what a lot of experts argue. Nuclear brings stability and low emissions, especially when solar and wind output dips. But there's a complication. Electricity demand keeps rising, driven by economic growth and new tech like AI. The question is, can clean energy keep up?
Not always. We've seen record fossil fuel emissions during heat waves. People running air conditioners all day drives up the demand. Still, forecasts say that by 2027, renewables and nuclear could meet almost all new demand. The emissions intensity from electricity is set to drop a lot. But is investment keeping up with these projections?
In 2024 alone, investment in clean energy hit $2 trillion. China added over 60% of the world's new solar capacity. The US and Europe are also leading in wind and solar. But lots of countries are still relying on fossil fuels. Why? It comes down to financing, grid upgrades, and policy gaps.
So which policies are actually working? Things like feed-in tariffs, renewable portfolio standards, tax credits, and grid investments have all helped. Carbon pricing is nudging utilities away from coal. At the same time, cutting coal subsidies makes fossil fuels less attractive. But for countries that are slower to transition, is this enough?
That's where international support comes in. Programs like the Green Climate Fund, Debt for Climate Swaps, even blended finance are meant to help emerging markets. But there's a risk. Will the money actually reach the places that need it most?
There's also the jobs and geopolitical angle. As coal shuts down and renewables scale up, jobs shift. Will enough workers be retrained, and will there be new opportunities? Plus, what about countries whose economies depend on fossil fuels?
And demand is growing from new sectors. Think electric vehicles, heat pumps, transit systems. All of this means more electricity is needed. Heavy industry is harder to clean up, but technologies like green hydrogen and carbon capture could help. The question is, will clean energy supply keep up with all this new demand from transport and buildings?
It's going to need more than just new technology. Targeted subsidies, robust carbon pricing, and research investment are all crucial. Otherwise, we might end up building new fossil fuel infrastructure that locks in emissions for decades.
Bill McDonald at Ember said, "Solar has become the engine of the global energy transition. With battery storage, it could become an unstoppable force." So, is battery storage the missing piece to make renewables reliable day and night?
That's still open. If battery storage scales up quickly, renewables could take the lead. If storage lags, we'll probably need more nuclear or other options to fill in the gaps.
40% is a milestone, but the pace has to pick up. The world's watching. Who will move fastest? Who will fall behind? And can we avoid locking in more fossil fuel use?
Thanks for joining us as we unpack the numbers, the shifts, and the open questions behind this low-carbon electricity milestone.
From solar's rapid growth to nuclear's return, and all the challenges around demand and investment, it's clear this is about more than just technology. It's also equity, jobs, and global strategy.
Thank you for listening. This episode was powered by mynews.studio. Try it now for free.